This is big breaking emergency news. We are now seeing the National Guard being deployed in multiple different states right now. And you can see here, this is the situation that we are currently dealing with the National Guard. And this is happening in multiple different states, all right? They're in the full hazmat gear and they are ready, all right? So let's dive into the details here really quick. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm posting multiple videos a day, keeping you guys updated on this big emergency news, all right? And it helps to get these warnings out as well so people know and people are getting prepped, okay? So you guys can see here, this is what's going on. And if you saw my video a couple days ago, do you guys remember those med trucks? Do you remember that video, those med trucks in New York? Do you remember that? These U.S. military med trucks there were a ton of them in a Walmart parking lot. All right, I made a whole video on that a couple days ago. And now we're seeing these events happen in multiple different states as well. National Guard being deployed in their full hazmat gear in Virginia, and also we have a situation in New York where they are getting ready for a major disaster, right? That's what they're even calling it. They're calling it disaster training and preparation, right? And those trucks were in New York, right? So something's going on. You can see here, this is in New York, okay? You can see here, look at this. New York National Guard sharpens disaster readiness skills, okay? So multiple different states right now, the National Guard is being deployed and they're getting ready for something big, all right? You can see here, it says soldiers from New York's National Guard 42nd Infantry Division honed their command and control capabilities, all right? And it says the exercise tested the citizen soldiers' ability to manage a simulated incident involving a detonation of an improvised nuclear device. This was just posted yesterday, this article, okay? So we saw these med trucks, and now the New York National Guard is doing this major training, and this is going on in Virginia. All right, we'll get to the details of that in just a second. You can see here it says, quote, "It's essential for us as an army, especially in the New York National Guard, to make sure we are ready to be called upon in both a combat environment as well as support our governor and elected officials in a role." All right, that's what Brigadier General Christopher R. Kronkin said, all right, commander of the 2nd HRF. So this is what they're getting ready for, a detonated improvised nuclear device. They're running drills for it. They're getting ready, and they're doing training for disaster preparedness in New York, right when we saw these med trucks, okay? So assets could be getting set up right now. And a lot of times these drills, they're cover to move military equipment around, move personnel around, and to get things in position and get people ready for what's coming next. All right, you can see here, this is also going on in Virginia at the same exact time. Check out this. It says Virginia Guard and state police team up for training exercise. All right, and they're doing this. Virginia's right over there. All right, all these states are right near each other. Virginia, New York, they're right over there. This is the same region of the country, and they're doing these full drills, getting ready for something big to happen. You can see here it says that the CST and VSP elements work together to identify possible explosive hazards while maintaining crime scene integrity. All right, so even local law enforcement, the state police are training with National Guard for a major event like this. Okay, it says the CST supports civil authorities in domestic, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and high-yield explosive incidents. The evaluated tasks include deploying a team, establishing communications and medical support, conducting surveys, technical, decontamination, and analytical functions, and interagency coordination. All right, so that's what they're getting ready for. You could see here it says the focus of training this week was the integration of the 34 CST with the Virginia State Police BCI bomb technicians. That's what Lieutenant Colonel Thomas McCadden said. All right, so, and he said, quote, the ability of these two agencies to understand each other's processes and procedures on approaching an incident is crucial for interoperability and support. All right, and he said, due to our mission, the possibility to encounter an explosive combined with a chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear agent is likely. All right, that's what he said. He said it's likely. That's their job, is to deal with things like this, and they're getting ready for it. He said, quote, the benefits of training with VSP bomb technicians and other bomb tech agencies allow us to better prepare for response and learn how we complement each other. You can see here it says they ran many different tests. It says participants conducted reconnaissance surveys on a suspected explosive threat. The team also trained on a simulated, quote, man-down scenario. And they had a second full-scale exercise focused on a radiation threat. So they're getting ready, and this would be phase one. All right, if something like this ever happened, this would just be the beginning, because the chaos is going to start after an event like this happens. We're going to see potentially martial law situations, National Guard on the street, military on the street, patrolling. We're going to have potential checkpoints, right, where things are locked down. You have to have searches to go to different regions, different areas, different states. Your car now has to be searched. There's internal checkpoints to go into certain cities and major areas. You now have to have a search or a checkpoint. That's what we're heading towards, is that the country is going to be wide open, but then internally there's going to be checkpoints, there's going to be borders, there's going to be lockdowns, all these things where you are segmented. That's going to happen internally, but then the country as a whole will continue to be wide open and allow these threats to come into the country undetected. All right, think about how big of a threat a open border is. If we are legitimately worried about a radiation threat, a nuclear disaster, some kind of major event like this, if we're actually worried about that, and it seems like the military is, right, but there's a little bit of a disconnect. All the different agencies are disjointed, they're compartmentalized. Certain ones have certain intel, certain ones have certain leadership that recognize things and train for it, and other ones don't recognize it. And it seems like they know something is coming, right? It would be extremely easy, and we are extremely vulnerable to have things like this snuck into our country. And potentially foreign governments are funding it and facilitating it. Look at all this stuff going on around the country right now. All these agitations, these riots, these protests going on. Police are battling people. This is spreading to more universities, more states. People in Texas now. Riot police have been deployed in Texas at Texas State University, battling police, all right? All these things are happening right now. It only takes, we're already seeing these agitations being brought up. These agitations being, accelerated. They're throwing fire on it. People are coming in from out of town. Even the mayor was saying that. People are coming in from out of town, out of state, and even out of country, and riling up these people at these protests and get them rioting and destroying things and clashing with police. All right, so if that's already happening, what happens when something like this happens in coordination with that? All right, that's what I mean. This is only going to be phase one. When something like this happens, we could see chaos. We could see these cells that are inside of our country. We know they're here. We could see these foreign military cells activated inside of our country. and start causing chaos. It would only take a few thousand in every city to almost completely take over the city, right? And in the aftermath of something like this, everyone's going to be responding to this. The resources will all be dedicated to dealing with an emergency response like this. And these groups could potentially exploit this and take over. All right, we could see multifaceted. We could see a cyber attack take out the communications, take out the hospitals, the emergency rooms. You can't call 911. Have an event like this so nobody can respond, nobody can call 911. Authorities get there extremely late and delayed because nobody can tell each other what's going on. So there's more casualties, okay? And then in the aftermath, once everyone's localized here, now there's 100 police here, there's 1,000 police here, all the guard are here. Then we could see activations of these groups to cause even more chaos. All right, this is the battle plan it seems like they're working on, coordinating this with potential power outages and water outages as well. Then we could see chaos. We could see things erupt very quickly. Things change within 24 to 48 hours overnight. All right, so make sure you guys have your preps ready to go. I know I say this, but it's critical, and you need to be working towards it every day. We just got satellite internet, okay? Because this is critical. We need to have alternate forms of communication in case something happens. So we now have satellite internet. We have cell phone internet as well. We've just been using hotspots, right? That's part of the reason why it takes me a while to get these videos out, right? My internet's, it's been shoddy. We've been in our RV, okay? But we now have satellite internet, and it's a game changer. And now we have that redundancy, right? If something goes down with the cell phones, hopefully the satellites are on, or vice versa. If satellite internet goes out, then hopefully the cell phones are still on. So get these things. We're still working. We're trying to get new stuff every month. We're trying to have a new project. We're building more chicken coops. We're getting more animals. We're digging out more garden space. We're getting more irrigation set up, timers set up, projects on our home, right? On our homestead, making it more secure. All these things, this is what we're working on. The list is never ending, but it's go time. You need to have a sense of urgency because these events could happen soon, right? And they could also happen years from now. This could happen in a year or two as well. But either way, it's good to have the peace of mind that you are prepared. And your preps now, with inflation, everything just goes up in price anyway. So you're combating that. Everything. If we would have bought this satellite internet a few years ago when we were in our RV, like we were thinking about doing it, but it's just expensive, right? It's expensive to get these things up off the ground. It would have been even cheaper, but now it was more expensive than it would have been a year ago if we got it, all right? Because everything's just going up in price. So even if something never happens, your entire life, there's never an emergency, which there will be. There'll be some kind of emergency, power outage, natural disaster, tornado, hurricane, earthquake, something. There's always going to be something. I've been through a dozen hurricanes down here in the south, all right? There's always something. So at least you'll be prepared for that. And at least you'll be combating inflation as well, and you have this peace of mind that if something happens, you're good to go. We have a generator. We lived off our generator for years. I just cranked it up about a month ago when our power went out for a little while. We have a generator. We have satellite internet. We're working on solar. All right, we can just plug our satellite internet right into the generator if we need it. We still have communications if the grid is down. All right, and we're working on solar. That's what we're working on soon, and we're working on our homestead as well, getting our chickens situated. I'm working on building another big coop out here to separate them. We're separating them by breed so we can have so we know exactly whose eggs are who, and hatch them out and have specific breeds and breed out the healthiest, biggest hens and roosters for our flock and for our egg layers and for our meat birds, all this stuff. That's what we're working on here. Okay? We're trying to get set up so these systems, whatever happens, we're insulated. Something goes offline, something happens, we still got food, we still got eggs, we still have power, we still have communication. And that's what you should be working towards too, to get off grid as much as possible. And you can even do this in the city. You can get a sat phone, you can get satellite internet, all the stuff. You can even do these things in the city. You can grow microgreens, you can grow some tomatoes on your balcony. All right, start doing something and get prepared now. So please hit it up for me down there, guys. It helps to get these warnings out. In the military, they're getting ready. They're not doing these training exercises for fun because it's fun to dress up in a hazmat suit. They're doing it because they know the threat level is at the highest level it's ever been. You heard these warnings yesterday. They're warning of coordinated, quote, coordinated attacks, quote, coordinated attacks on the homeland. That's the quote that they're warning of at the highest levels officials are. They know that the threat level's at an all-time high, right? And the country's wide open and we're vulnerable. So thank you guys. I hope you have big blessings for your life, your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.